Hello everyone and welcome to a Replica Airguns Airsoft Pistol Review. Today we're looking at the Umarex Walther P99 DAO, which stands for Double Action Only, Blowback Airsoft Pistol, and this is the tabletop review. Now we'll be including a little bit of a preview of this gun shooting just so we can get an idea of its performance, but there will also be a dedicated field test shooting review to follow this one. So let's get right into the specifications. This is a blowback, metal and plastic design. And again, it's an Umarex product with Walther licensing and trademarks throughout. This gun uses 12-gram CO2 cartridges. It shoots 6mm plastic airsoft BBs. It has a smooth bore barrel with a 15-round dropout all-metal stick-styled magazine. This gun weighs about 1.5 pounds or 606 grams, and again is double action only with blowback. It also has a claimed FPS of 380. Now this gun is made in Taiwan. Now it does come in your traditional clamshell case, nothing too exciting here. Inside you have your manual. I'm not even going to show you it, but it's in there, and there's a small, well, you can see it, there's a small pack of BBs in there too hidden. Just a little bit of a starter pack for you. Some basic specifications on the back and on the front. At this point I'm going to compare it to a couple guns. The one that I wanted to compare it to would have been my Real Action Marker P99, which would have been the closest to this gun, but I actually sold that gun because I had a customer that really wanted it, and I'm still trying to get another one to replace it because I did like that paintball gun, but that would have been the closest. So I'll put a link in here to that review. It's the RAP4 P99 .43 caliber paintball pistol, so I'll put a link in there right now for you. But we will take a quick look at some other Walther products. This is my CP99. This is a pellet pistol, so no blowback, very high quality, German made, but you can see some definite similarities in design, very similar grips, right? But they are a little bit different in the slide area. I also have my CP99 Compact, a little bit smaller version. Again, similar design guns. Walther typically goes with a certain look for the majority of their guns. Okay, so check out that CP99. I've got several videos for that gun as well. Alright, so let's take a quick walk around of this airsoft pistol by Umarex. Take a look at the left side first. So let's just take a look at the branding. We have Walther on the front, P99 DAO for double action only. It is a metal slide. It locks back in the last shot with a slide catch release. You've got your caliber there, if we can get, there we go, Carl Walther, not caliber, sorry, your branding again. And then your caliber on the back. Again, this is your slide catch release, metal trigger, metal slide catch release, polymer frame, metal magazine release, which is ambidextrous by the way, on both sides, you can see there. All pretty much metal magazine. What's really nice is, again, you have some branding on the bottom of your stick magazine. Nice heavy stick mag. Very solid feel. I just want to show you something too. Kind of similar to the CP99 Compact in that you have a nice metal magazine. So I like that they're doing that. They're putting a solid metal magazine. Easy to load. You just put your catch down at the bottom there. And then you load your BBs in the hole. 15 go in there, just fit. And there you go. Okay, we'll put that back in. Now I do have CO2 in this gun, so it is on safe right now, but I might show you the blowback in a second. Now, to get to the CO2, you just pull this back here, load your CO2 in the gun. You have your standard tab, which is plastic. Seems to work fine, but you notice you have some metal inside here, lots of metal inside this gun as well. Gives it some significant weight. Okay. Trying to do this upside down. There we go. Again, you have your Walther licensing on the grips. Okay. You do have nice white dot sights, so we'll take a quick look at the top. So white dot sights in the back and the front. Now, the sights are non-adjustable. Unfortunately, you do have a sort of open ejection port, although you can't really see into the gun or down in through the ports, the mag well. But it is an open ejection port. I like that. Again, polymer frame, so all the frame and grips are plastic. Okay, let's take a look. Now, the back here, that would be sort of an indicator as to whether the gun was cocked or not. But this is double action only, so it's not going to cock with the blowback of the slide. It doesn't have a decocker or any of that fancy stuff that you might find on real versions. Now this, I guess, slide release catch is molded into the plastic here, so it's non-functioning. You have your, basically your fire and safe, made in Taiwan, serial number, F for the German markings, typical Umarex white warning instructions. Again, read the manual. Metal slide again, nice slide. More Walther markings. Ambidextrous safety, or sorry, mag release again. And all metal trigger. You do have a rail for an accessory here. Now this gun again normally came with, it's a little bit beat up here, but I had to cut off the red tip. I don't like the red tip, and here in Canada we don't need it. So I cut off the red tip. In the US and Canada, because we import this through the US, it does come with the red tip, and we do have it on our Canadian version, unfortunately, but it is fairly easy to remove. You can see I did it here. It's no problem there. It looks a lot better without it, obviously. So we'll just do a little bit of blowback. This gun is empty. If I do shoot a BB out of it, it's going to be pointed in a safe direction. Let's take a look here. Okay, I'm going to hold the slide catch down. Do it from this side here. Okay. You'll notice the slide is not really moving that fast, but it's got enough. Gives a little bit of kick, but it's not a hard slide. And I want to show you this a little bit too. You can see it. When you pull the trigger back, again, the barrel moves forward, which allows a BB to go into this sort of barrel chamber area. As the barrel comes back, it then becomes the actual hammer, which I believe hits the valve and fires off the round. So it's an interesting system, and it works fairly well, but it does give you a double action trigger. It's not your actual single action that you would normally find in blowback guns, but it does work fairly well. Alright, so bottom, not too much. I mean, there's just your magazine well there. I do like the markings. Everything looks pretty nice on this gun. It's, you know, that's solid. There's not a lot of slide wiggle. It's very minimal. Everything's nice and solid on this gun. Alright, so at this point we're going to head outside and we're going to do a little bit of a pre-test just to get an idea of what this gun shoots like, how it performs on the chronograph, and shooting from 20 feet out in a semi-rested position. Okay, so I'm all set up for my pre-test of the Umarex Walther P99 Airsoft Blowback CO2 pistol. And we're going to put approximately 5 rounds through the chronograph. And I've got 15 rounds loaded up in this magazine, so we'll put probably 10 into the target. Just depends on if we get some accurate readings or not. But I have 15 rounds, so we'll use them wisely. Here we go. We're going to start with the chronograph portion. And we're expecting, as claimed, around 380. So let's see what happens. I have brand new CO2. This is the first shot. It might be a little hot. Alright, here we go. That was a little slow. Well, 340. Blowback seemed a little kind of weak, but that's 340.4. 336. 332. 326.9. So a little bit lower than claimed. Now this is, I've never been shot this gun, so we're not really sure. That the slide action is a little bit slower than I was expecting. It's not super snappy, but it does work, and right around 330, 340 feet per second. All right, so let's go back and see how well this gun performs on the target from 20 feet back here, semi-rested. Okay. Now this is a double action only gun, so it does have a bit of a long, firm trigger pull that may affect the target reading here. It looks low and to the left. Now I've left one more round in here. I want to see if we're still shooting consistently at 330, but let's take a quick look at the target. Not bad grouping, really. About 2 inches.
maybe a little over, but not bad. It doesn't have adjustable sights, so there's no way I'm going to be able to move it over, but it's not that far off. You could just use your aiming point to adjust that slightly. Might shoot in a different spot out further too, just depends. Alright, so we're going to put one more through the chronograph just to see if we're still around here. So about the same, so about 330, and nice, the slide locks back, that's always cool. And other than being a little lower than I expected, it shot pretty well for me. So let's head inside and finish off this tabletop review.
So the Umarex Walther P99 CO2 Blowback Airsoft pistol performed pretty decent for us outside. Nothing really unexpected. It shot fine. There were no hiccups. Everything worked as it should. It did shoot a little bit lower than I expected. I was expecting to get around 380, although it wasn't a really warm day today. I do keep my guns inside right up to the time that I'm ready to shoot them, but still the inside temperature of my house isn't all that warm either, maybe around 18, 19 degrees Celsius right now. I keep things pretty cold, so this gun could be a lot warmer, and it may shoot hotter when it's warmed up a little bit on a sunny day. Now, I was using 0.20 gram BBs for the testing, so that's about what you want to use for most of these chronograph tests. Now, I did get about a 2-inch grouping from 20 feet out in a semi-rested position, a little to the left and a little bit low, but not too far off. And don't forget, this is my first time shooting this gun. It does have a heavy double action trigger, which takes a little bit of getting used to. I found it fairly smooth, but again, I was getting used to it. So with a little bit more practice using this gun, I could probably get a little tighter groups than I showed you today. Now again, the blowback is not super snappy, but it does give you enough kick to give you that realistic feel. And I also like the fact that the slide stays back when it's empty, so if you're using this gun in an airsoft battle, you're not going to be firing empty rounds. Alright, so let's talk about some pros and cons for the Umarex Walther P99 CO2 Blowback Airsoft pistol. It's really a fairly low cost gun that does have blowback, which is nice. Now the stick magazines are fairly inexpensive, so if you're using this in some sort of airsoft battle, you could load up on these magazines, have a whole bunch of them, and this gun would perform fairly well in a close quarter combat situation. I like the fact that it has an all metal stick magazine, very solid feel to it, works very well, 15 rounds, nothing wrong with that. Now it does have a fair amount of metal in it, and the plastic is high quality. Of course, it has metal slide, trigger, slide catch release, inner barrel, stick magazine, magazine release. A lot of internal parts are metal, so there's decent weight to this gun, and the build quality is decent considering the low price. Also like that it has a rail for accessories. It has a very well hidden CO2 screw, which adds to the believability. There's full Walther licensing throughout. Now even though there's a red tip on this gun, it does have a recessed inner barrel. When you remove the tip, you still have a recessed barrel, so that's great. You'll also find white dot sights front and back, although they're non-adjustable. And this gun, even though it shoots a little lower, closer to 330 to 340 FPS, that's right about where you want to be for indoor CQB style airsoft games, so keep that in mind. Now, some of the cons, it does come with a red tip, even in Canada, because we do import this through Umarex USA, and all the US airsoft guns are required to have red tips. So here in Canada, even though we don't have that requirement, some of the guns just come with them because they come through the US. Now it is a double action only trigger, so it is a bit heavier, but it is predictable and it is fairly smooth throughout the pull. I didn't talk a lot about the safety, but it is this kind of weird safety. It's not what you would find on the real gun, but you do find these safeties on many Umarex products. It's just kind of the way it is with some of these air guns. And again, the blowback was a little bit sluggish. I would have liked a little snappier blowback, but with that said, there's more than enough there to give you that feel and to lock the slide back on the last shot, which means you're not going to waste any CO2 or be shooting at people and have nothing coming out of your barrel. Alright, so that wraps up this tabletop review of the Umarex Walther P99 DAO, double action only CO2 Blowback Airsoft pistol. Don't forget to drop by the Replica Airguns website, where I'll be including a post with additional photos of this pistol for you to check out, and maybe some other information in my written review for you to check out as well. Also, while you're visiting the Replica Airguns website, check out our Canada and US store, where we have air guns, blank guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, accessories for you. Make sure to subscribe before you head out. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. Thanks for watching another Replica Airguns video. Until next time, take care.